Hey, good evening, everyone. Senator Dole, Secretary Collins, distinguished guests who are here tonight, to all of our companies who are supporting us, all of our sponsors and our service organizations, thank you for being here. For our service members and our families, thank you for being here tonight. My wife, Linda Lee, and I, and the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard, Phil Waldron, are so honored to be with you. We'd like to first congratulate all of our service members and awardees who are being honored tonight, including Senator Dole. Senator, from the Coast Guard, we are so proud that you served as our service secretary in your long and distinguished career, and so thank you for your long service and being part of our Coast Guard family. The United States Coast Guard is a proud member of our armed forces and the Joint Force. We do a lot of things in support of our American people. We control, secure, and defend our border and the maritime approaches. We facilitate commerce to ensure our economic prosperity and strategic mobility in our ports and waterways and shipping. And we respond to a crisis or contingency that may come with little or no warning. It is in this third mission area that we are recognizing our service members from the United States Coast Guard this evening. Coast Guard Station Washington. Now, Coast Guard Station Washington, under the command then of Lieutenant Commander Kim Jenish, they're located, it's a small boat station located at the southern end of Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. It's about 100 meters south of where Linda Lee and I are privileged to live in quarters. So they're right there in the heart of Washington, D.C. And on the night of January 29th, they responded to a terrible tragedy. And all these terrible tragedies, these crises, are when things happen often at their worst for people. That is when the Coast Guard turns to action and where we are at our best. And as proud as I am of what the crew of Coast Guard Station Washington did that evening, that terrible tragedy, I am even more proud, we are even more proud of who our Coast Guard men and women are, supported by their family members. I'd like to turn it over to Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard.
Thank you, Admiral, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Admiral mentioned how one of the primary value propositions of the Coast Guard is responding at a moment's notice to crisis or contingencies that occur without notice. And that's exactly what happened on the evening of January 29th. Whenever an American Airlines plane collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk over the Potomac River, the crew of Station Washington didn't need to be called. They were ready. They were ready to immediately drop everything they were doing, get underway on their boats, and head out into the unknown in the icy and frigid waters that January brings the D.C. area. And this was not a normal operation. Search and rescue is the sacred bond that the Coast Guard holds with the American public. And this evening, that case looked a little bit different. And it challenged our crews, and it put them in situations that I sincerely hope and pray that nobody ever has to face. But they overcame, and they endured, and they still waved the flag proudly for the Coast Guard that evening. The team supported one another, and it was not just within the crew of Station Washington. It was also the extended family members, the chaplain corps, our ombudsman, the support networks that we have in place for those people. Oftentimes, it's hard to remember that the rescuers also need help at times, too, and it was because of the efforts of all of those who willingly reached out to support our own crew members that we were able to bring closure to so many families in the aftermath of such a tragic event. The Coast Guard chose to represent our Service Member of the Year this year by representing an entire crew of folks ranging from our very junior E3s up to a well-seasoned 04, because it demonstrates the dedication of our total workforce. And with that, I'd like to turn your attention to the screen and let them describe what they underwent that evening and why we chose to represent them.
As I'm entering the base, I see a line of red and white lights of emergency vehicles just everywhere.
To me, it looked like hundreds of responding assets immediately there. And that was coupled with that overwhelming smell of jet fuel.
You could feel it all around your eyes, just up in your nose, just there.
It just was a massive debris field, chunks of debris floating everywhere.
The radio, they say 60 souls. We were looking for 60 souls, and that just stuck to me.
I think everyone's mind at the time was still trying to understand exactly what was happening. We didn't have any other details other than a plane had crashed.
I can say that that day was probably the fastest day I've seen people get ready.
Once we came out of the marina and were on scene, that's when we started just passing on the stuff that we were seeing firsthand. And we saw this large piece of metal floating there, and we came up on it to see, and turned out to be a helicopter. And yeah, when you see that, it's just unbelievable.
During the first stage of that night, the focus was just trying to get as much information as you can. The second stage was now realizing this was going to take more than just a night.
When we were searching and we came across our first victim, and again, just unbelievable, another shocking thing, that you don't expect to come across.
I don't think you can mentally shift from search and rescue to search and recovery effectively. I think we're trained to always be in search and rescue mode. They don't go out there searching for a victim. They go out there searching for a person.
The mission evolved into becoming the mission to reunite all 67 families and friends with their loved ones to bring them the much needed closure that night.
We were able to recover all 67 victims, 3 of which were U.S. Army service members. You have to have some sort of order to the chaos. I commend Lieutenant Commander Jenish for maintaining that order through everything that was going on with composure and skill.
Lieutenant Ravitz was there to fill in the gaps of what everyone needed that night. Craig was definitely everywhere. In days following, our focus as a unit was to heal and to recognize that resources are available, and that we really emphasize the importance to seek professional mental health, to talk it out. As far as what's next for Station Washington, we truly have become a stronger station.
Station Washington is going to continue to train, maintain, and operate.
We have great people here that love to do their job.
At the end of the day, we were just doing our job, and I think we're going to continue to do it without a doubt, especially with the brothers and sisters we have here, the men and women that we serve alongside with.
Please welcome the 2025 Coast Guard recipients, Lieutenant Commander Kim Jenish, and the whole Station Washington team.
Wow. That was our first time watching that video, and thank you so much for showcasing the crew of Station Washington. Well, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the crew of Coast Guard Station Washington, thank you for this honor and recognition. It has been a true privilege to meet our fellow service member honorees tonight, and we are humbled to be recognized alongside them. These members here on stage with me, who I am honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with, define what it means to lead and take action as a team with heart, courage, and devotion to duty. Their heroic actions on January 29th helped bring closure to all the families and friends of the 67 souls lost that night. Our hearts go out to them. Thank you to Chaplain McGarity. He is right there next to his wife there, for being with us from the very first moment, from everything that night. Being with us the entire night into the early morning, going above and beyond, looking out for us and all the responders. Mrs. McGarity, we are indebted to your graciousness for coordinating all the nutritious meals, nourishing not just our physical needs, but also nourishing our souls for all the responders in the following weeks. Station Washington crew, I am so proud of you. Your heart, courage, and devotion to duty reflect the very spirit of the United States Coast Guard, and I am so very proud to have served as your commanding officer. On behalf of all of us, thank you, Admiral Lundy, for being here. Mrs. Lundy, thank you to the Military Times Foundation. Thank you again for hosting us and honoring the crew of Coast Guard Station Washington. Semper Paratus.
We'll always remember that tragic night in the Potomac. It's only fitting that here in our nation's capital, we honor the crew of Coast Guard Station Washington. We watched on our screens as they battled impossible odds. You know, the river kept what it claimed that night. Their courage